Hello BookTube! Today I'm going to be doing my wrap-up for March of 2016. Now, usually I do weekly wrap-ups, and I did do one the first week of March, so I'm not going to be including those books in this wrap-up, but if you want to go check that out, we'll link it down below. But this month has just been kind of crazy. I talked about it in my last video, one of my last videos, that I am trying to eat healthier and working out, and my energy has just been like in the pits because of this huge like lifestyle change that I've been doing. But now that I'm about a week into it and I feel great, I feel amazing, my energy is much higher, and I'm really getting used to working out and eating better, and my body is getting used to it too. So anyway, that is why I'm going to be doing a monthly wrap-up this month instead of weekly wrap-ups, but next month it's going to go back to weekly wrap-ups, and hopefully I'll be reading more as well. So without further ado, let's just get started. So on my last weekly wrap-up, I had told you that I was in the middle of reading The Girl from Everywhere by Heidi Halig, and I finished that, and it was really, really good. I was not expecting that ending. A very big twist. I'm really excited to see if there's going to be more in this series. I don't believe that it says that it's going to be a series on Goodreads. I'm just not sure what Heidi Halig, I think that's how you say her name, has planned for this, but by itself, I think it was a pretty good standalone. I really enjoyed Nyx as a character and the time travel aspect, and I loved that the idea of time travel in this, how the rules of it is basically you have to get a map of the place and time that you want to go, and then you can go to it, but you can only go to it once. So and then he uses the guy who is the time traveler, and everyone else on the ship are not time travelers, but the guy, Nyx's father, well, Nyx learns that she is a time traveler, but Nyx's father is a time traveler and uses the ship as a vessel to transport all these other people to a different place in time, but you can only use the map once you use a map it expires. And I just thought that was a really interesting part of this story. And another thing that I loved is that it centered around a romance, but it wasn't the main character's romance. The whole conflict of the book was Nyx's father's romance with Nyx's mother and trying to go back to a time in which she was alive, and I just thought that was really interesting and not something that you usually see. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Assassin's Heart by Sarah Ayres. This is a very new book that just came out recently, and it was okay. I think I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm on the fence about the series. I know there's going to be another one coming out, but basically this is about a world in which assassins, there's 9 different families of assassins, and it's legal for them to kill people because their god, their religious belief is that when someone kills you, then you go to heaven, I guess, or basically. So the religious system was really confusing, but it was intricate and well thought out. I believed. I'm a sucker for very different, unique religious systems, and the main character goes to a different area where they have a different religious system, and that one was very talked about in depth as well, and I just thought that was really interesting. So the story by itself was interesting, but it didn't hold my attention completely. I felt like I was all over the place. Sometimes, I would be thinking about this thing or that thing when I was reading it, so it didn't really hold my attention, but it was somewhat interesting, and I think I will read the next book in the series because I just got really invested in the characters and the story, and I did enjoy it. It wasn't that great. So I gave it, like I said, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. After Assassin's Heart, I listened to Shatter Me by Tara Mafi on audiobook, and it was so good, guys. I was blown away. I loved it so much. Like I said, I listened to this in an audiobook just because so I could get it. I was reading this for the Slay That series, and this happened to be the only book that I finished for Slay That series, so I was listening to an audiobook to hopefully get through it quicker, but Slay That series was a complete and total fail for me. I wanted to read Glass Sword as well, which I did finish, just not in the week of Slay That series. So anyway, in the audiobook, I had never picked up this book before. So in the audiobook, it was like the person was talking, and then there was like this sound, and I thought there was something wrong with my audiobook, but then I realized that like it sounded like a pen scratching on paper, and then that made sense to me because the person would sometimes repeat like it would say something and then the pen scratch and then it would say it again and then the pen scratch and say it again. So it was just, I was like, it sounds like they're scratching out something and writing again. So I look at the physical book and that's exactly what was happening. And so I think that's just really interesting that they added that piece into the audiobook. It made it really, really cool for me. I really loved it. I think the girl that did the audiobook had great pacing and she sounded exactly like the character I figured would sound, and it was just perfect. The audiobook really gripped me. I could not put it down. I was literally listening to it every second of every day that I could, and I loved it so much. I cannot wait to go on to the next one. The only thing that I'm really confused about, and this is from just watching so many booktube videos and stuff, is when someone talks about Warner and Juliet. I think I've heard people talking about like Warner and Juliet and their romance, but in this first book, he's bad. Like really bad. I mean, Juliet has a deadly touch and that's not giving anything away, but Warner makes her, like he puts this baby in danger and makes her save the baby, but she has no way to protect this baby from her touch. And so it's like she doesn't kill someone right away, but she like drains their power over time, so she can't touch someone for long periods of time, but when she does touch them, it hurts, obviously, because she's draining your life source basically. And so I'm like, even if there is obviously some sort of redemption that happens if Warner becomes a love interest, so but for me there's no coming back from that. He made her almost kill a baby. I don't care what kind of redemption or arc that you go through, there's no coming back from that. So I'm really interested to see what everyone's obsession is with Juliet and Warner and their thing, because as of right now, I hate his guts. But I really loved this. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Super excited to read the rest of the story. Then, in order to catch up on my Goodreads reading goal, which I am way behind on, I read some audiobooks that I picked up. The first one is Sex Criminals, Volume 14, which is by Matt Fraction and Chip Zdarsky. Really good. 4 out of 5 stars. Better than 11 and 12. I wasn't a big fan of 11 and 12. Got really, really weird, but much better in this one. Next is Descender Volume 11, and this is by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. This is about AI, and it's futuristic and sci-fi. Really, really good. I love this entire series. 4 out of 5 stars for this one. The cliffhanger, like, there's a cliffhanger at the end of this one, and it's not coming back until June. I literally screamed and threw the comic book across the room. My husband was like, "What's wrong?" And I was just like, "Descender," and he reads it with me, but he's like 3 comics behind, and so I was like, "I can't tell you, but you need to read it." And it was the cliffhanger though, and I cannot wait until June to pick up the next one. Next, as I read the first comic in Dragon Age Mage Killer. This is a bunch of authors here. I don't know, I was interested in picking up Dragon Age and seeing if I was interested in it. My husband downloaded the video game for me. So I don't know, I wasn't completely sold. I feel like it was left out. I found out later that Dragon Age comes out with like 4 or 5 book mini series, and it's kind of like in this huge world, and I don't like that. I like being introduced to a world and building on it. So I wish I could start at the beginning, but with comics it's just not, you know, this isn't really necessarily not the beginning, but it's not the middle either. It's confusing and hard to explain, but I am not sold on this. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars because I did like the story. I just feel like I'm missing out because I'm not starting from the very beginning. And then Insects, this is by Marguerite Bennett and Ariel Christiana. This is number 4, and I love Insects, okay? I don't know why. It's like my guilty pleasure. It's the weirdest comic I've probably ever read, but it's great. It's like my drama, and I just love it. Basically, it's these 2 girls living in the 1800s in England, and they're like these insect alien type. It doesn't really explain how they are like mutated, but they both have like these insect abilities, and I keep wanting to say alien, but I can't say that it's alien. I don't know. But anyway, and they're lesbians, and they have a baby together, and they like, it's around the same era of the Jack the Ripper, which they called the London Killer back then or something like that. But it's super good, super sexual. I mean, they have lesbian sex scenes twice, at least in every comic, but I think it's great. I really, really enjoy it. Plus it's written and color, and the art is done by women, and I think that's really great. And I'm such a fan of this, and I cannot wait for the 5th one to come out. 5 out of 5 stars every single time. The last book that I recently completed is Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. I am going to be doing a full review on this book in video form and on my blog, which I don't normally do because I have so much to say about this. I will link it down below when it is available, but I think this video would just be way too long if I included my thoughts on this. I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. They're really good parts, really frustrating parts, but like I said, stay tuned for my video review and my blog review very soon on this. And then last but not least, the 2 books that I am reading currently. The first one is Shadow Queen by CJ Redwine. Pretty good so far. I had no idea that there were dragons in this, which I love. That was really something that I was like, oh, that was a surprise, and I love it. It's great. Can't wait to read more. I'm only on page 52 at the moment, but I'm really liking this. This is also our book of the month for the Once Upon a Read Along that I do with Chloe over the Bit of File. Our live show with this is going to be April 9th on my channel at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, like always, and I'm just really excited to read this. This is a Snow White retelling, and it's pretty good so far. And I'm also reading, well, I'm listening to The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak on audiobook. I have a physical copy, as you can tell, but I'm reading it on audiobook to try to get through it faster. And the person who does the audiobook is British and talks German, and it's harder for me to listen at like 1.4, 1.6 speed because of an accent that I'm not used to. So I'm getting through it slower than I thought I would, but faster than if I were reading it. And it's okay. I'm not sure why everyone says, oh my god, it's the best book ever. Maybe I just haven't gotten to a really great part. It is good and entertaining. I think that it's very unique that it's from the perspective of Death, that Death is narrating it basically, but I'm not sold. It's not a 4 or 5 star book for me. Very middle of the road. I don't know. I guess I'm halfway through it right now, so I guess I gotta see what happens in the second half. But I am enjoying it. It's just not that great. I guess I came in with really high expectations because everyone else loves this book. And it's not that I don't love it. It's just that it's just okay. It's just eh. So anyway, that is all the books that I've read in May. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!